Hi, Maria. That's fine. I'm just checking that everything is fine with the telephone. So I'm going to be only over the internet after that. Hélène, est-ce que tu m'entends? Est-ce que il y a quelqu'un qui vient de me dire que le son ne fonctionne pas. Est-ce que je peux, présentement tout était fermé. Est-ce qu'on peut me confirmer que ça ne fonctionne toujours pas? Est-ce que vous entendez maintenant? OK. Oui, en effet, mon micro est toujours ouvert. Hélène, je voulais m'assurer que tu avais bien ouvert la session de téléconférence pour l'interprétation vers le français pour que les personnes puissent se brancher. Sinon, ils ne peuvent pas se joindre à la téléconférence. Donc, je sais qu'il y a d'autres personnes qui viennent d'arriver. Je reprends, je redemande encore aux personnes si vous m'entendez. Je sais que Dorothée a des problèmes présentement. Un instant. Donc, si... Brigitte, est-ce que tu m'entends? Donc, je viens de mettre un petit message. On va essayer de faire les vérifications encore une fois. D'accord, je vois que ça fonctionne pour certains. Ok. Ok, c'est bon. J'espère que Maria m'entendait très bien tout à l'heure, donc on va présumer que c'est fait. Donc, il y en a quand même pas mal qui ont des problèmes. Oh oui. Sorry, I just I just find out that I did speak only in French. Sorry. I just want to do audio test. So if you can hear me, please could you raise your hand? Perfect. Thank you very much. Almost everybody is there. So yes, we could begin. I'm not sure what will happen with the interpretation in French, but yes. OK, je vais donc maintenant commencer la présentation. Je ne suis pas certaine si Brigitte est capable de m'entendre, mais généralement, je pense qu'elle va pouvoir le regarder de toute façon. Bon, je m'excuse pour les petits problèmes qu'on a connus jusqu'à date, mais les problèmes ne s'arrêtent pas là, malheureusement. Il y a aussi un de nos présentateurs, M. Griff Richard, qui a des problèmes de son côté. Il y a une panne d'Internet dans toute la Colombie-Britannique, dans tout Vancouver, plutôt, pas dans la province au complet, mais dans tout Vancouver. Et les équipes travaillent depuis 6 heures ce matin, 6 heures heure de la Colombie-Britannique, pour tenter de réparer le tout, mais c'est pas évident. Vous allez juste... Et ça m'a occupé un petit peu, là, ça me coupe un petit peu la... So, OK. Donc, maintenant, tous les enregistrements sont démarrés. On va tout de même commencer. Non, peut-être que l'interprétation... okay, maybe there's a problem with interpretation. At this point, I have a hard time to do something. Interpretation to English, if the interpretation could be done anyway, hopefully we will record it. Yeah, so we will try to figure that. Anyway, the first presentation will be in English. So, I would like anyway to continue about that, and I would like to say, well, first of all, thank you very much. And we will, of course, begin with the English presentation. Since Dr. Richard is not here. So, as you know, I would like to remind you that the workshop is recorded. And if you want to make comments or ask questions, you use the computer microphone. Okay, so this is a workshop about, we will heard about maybe Kenya, if he could have if he could be back. He will try to connect with the telephone as well if he cannot, if he didn't have the internet. We will see if he's back. Okay, and so we will have a first presentation, and I have to switch my papers. We'll have the first presentation with Dr. Maria Panatier, and we will, and I will continue. We will continue with Dr. Richard if he's there. So, Dr. Panatier, and I would like to apologize. Maybe there's a lot of words here. Maybe I will not pronounce it correctly, so I want to ask you to be generous with me. So Dr. Maria Panatier is manager at Digital Solution in Lingua International Limited. She is head of the Department of Applied Informatics in Education Institute of Computer Technologies, Moscow State University of Economics, Statistics, and Informatics. Among other things, Madame Panatier is author and scientific supervisor of BD and MD educational programs in applied informatics in education, leading researcher at the Russian Academy of Education in the field of ICTs in education, certified author and teacher of DL course, written English in IAPT, Project Harmony Incorporated in the United States, regular participant and organizer of distance learning conferences and events in Russia and abroad, the head of organizing committee and editor of annual conference on e-learning, distance, and open education. But again, I would invite you to read the biography that appears in the website of the CAID for a more complete description. I now, before I give the floor to Dr. Panatier, I would like to know why there's some people that have their hands up. Is it because you forget it or because est-ce que les mains, ok, d'accord, c'était des erreurs. Bonnie, do you want to say something? Okay, so I give the floor to Dr. Panatier now.
Hello, can you hear me all right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, thank you very much for this opportunity to share some ideas and concerns with you. Carol, can you please start? Yes, it's loading, the presentation. To share some of the ideas and concerns that I think are common to everybody, to all instructional designers all over the world. And I would be happy to discuss with you some of the points later after the presentation. And I would like to present you in this short talk my activity at the Moscow University, State University of Economics, Statistics, and Informatics that deal with educational master degree educational program that is delivered at a distance. And of course, the rest of the activities that scientific research and practical in implementing online solution, of course, they help and they form the central activity of my department. But first, I would like to briefly introduce you to dimension of Russia. You can see on the second slide, just to understand the context of the educational and cultural context. Of course, distant learning and distant education is critical for Russian territory, the same as for Canada, and there are seven federal regions, and great educational traditions. My university is a bit more than 80 years old. It started as a traditional university, training professionals for economy and informatics and statistics. And of course, it's the general situation for many universities now in Russia, trying to combine the great traditions of correspondence learning, traditions of pedagogical educational concepts and theories, and this new technological breakthrough. We have a tradition of applied didactics as well, but the culture of instructional design is new to our educational context. Now the main tendency is to merge big institutions. I'm sorry, I don't know why this presentation always comes back. I do nothing. The slide, I mean, sorry for that. The tendency is that universities merge today, and there is a culture of federal universities as a hub of these knowledges, but there is no culture of open universities like it is known in the North American and European educational context. But as I told you, great experience of correspondence learning and open education for all in Soviet times, as far as you may know, gave us this feeling of necessity. What is more important is that we have in Russia the forms of education that are legally established in the educational law, and we are limited to these forms of education. And one of them is correspondence education so far. And now we shift to distant learning, and I would like to briefly outline what are the driving factors and market trends, and what prevents us from going maybe as we would like to. Of course, given examples from my own practice, but I think the situation is general for many Russian universities. The problem here, and I would like then to introduce you briefly our master degree program in training instructional designers, and what we think it could be better to sustain distant learning development and go further. So we rethink e-learning, and the problem in distant learning. The problem here lies not only in technological advancement. Most of the regions, all of the regions, I would say, have access to internet, not bad connections. We have access to many tools, and we cannot imagine now learning without information and communication technologies. The great problem for us is how to implement them effectively. I think as for many of you as well. Though the education in the past, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, was open to the community. We had access, free access to education. Anyone could get education free, but now it was different. It was different information culture. It was no culture of working with information, working with tools of how to use information, and so on. So this is why now in this new context we start to rethink distant education in its concept as a kind of development of correspondence education, because of existing, of course, and appearance of a new group of users. Many educational institutions see it as an attraction of larger audience, larger groups, different groups of students, because new types of resources are appearing, and even there is a change in educational law now. I will speak about it a bit later, that speaks about not only using educational means, but using educational resources. That is also very important for us as instructional designers and content developers, new content, I would say, and of course new formats of collaboration. This is what we all understand. And on the other hand, the market is growing. The e-learning market is growing. Again, I would not make you or surprise you with these facts that you see on the slide. Universities use blended model of distance learning, so I would say 70% of face-to-face and 30% of ICT support, reduced campuses. Many universities, especially technological universities, medical universities, they transfer to use of seminars and labs online. They try to make use of ICTs in face-to-face classroom. Many big universities such as Moscow State University and St. Petersburg and many federal universities, they broadcast online the lectures. They have their own YouTube channels. What is interesting that online high schools are being appearing nowadays and becoming very popular, especially for people who do not live in Russia nowadays, but who would like to give their children Russian secondary education. And the culture of resource centers for high schools are starting to be shaped now. And of course, informal education and in the concept of lifelong training, what is very rapidly developing, and I would call that more golden rush in this sector, is the growth of corporate sector, of this learning in corporate sector, and many corporations are appearing. You can see on the slide, if you can read some of the names, so-called learning, teaching corporations that of course need knowledge of how to build learning inside their corporation at a distance, how to structure their courses and resources. But there is a kind of controversy here. This great popularity on the one hand, and lack of specialists who can professionally support it from not only from pedagogical, but both from technological and management side. And if you, for example, look at Russian Headhunters website, you can find more than 3,000 vacancies just for Russia, for Central Russia, with more than average salary, that would like to have specialists and instructional designers, though I must say that there is no such traditionally established profession, instructional designer, educational technologies in Russia so far. So corporate school sector are very active, and they have their internal training. They need the specialists. And what about university sector? I just try to compare at the next slide, the situation based on UNESCO information in US and in Russia. So according to Federal Service of State Statistics, that yes, the popularity of online educational programs is growing. In 2010, half of the institution used distance education in different models, not only online totally, but blended. We can consider that as well. And in 2012, it grew till almost 60%. But as far as I understood from UNESCO report, we share the same concerns with North American University, is not only how, in which models we use these or that technologies, but how we ensure quality. And just before to proceed to the educational program, I would like to pay your attention to the fact that what prevents us, what made us not very active in development of distance learning on different levels is these legal barriers. Because for Russia it's very important that all the forms of education are established in the law of education. And now we have face-to-face correspondence. We call it part-time education, so or evening education, and self-education. And so far, before 2012, we didn't have distance learning as a form of education, or means of education, of delivering education, and we just had it and still have on the level of methods. So any educational institution can choose whether to use distance education technologies or e-learning in any of the mentioned above forms. What was the breakthrough for us in 2012 and now with the ministerial order, that e-learning was, the term e-learning was introduced, that I think is rather equal to, more general, but rather equal to distance education technologies, and that is stated that in every educational institution that is going to introduce e-learning and deliver educational services using e-learning, information education environment should be established and created. This was a great support, and we need, why we need this form of education delivery. It's very important, and it concerns the finance of state and federal universities, because they receive financial support from the state only for the forms of education that are established, just for you to understand the situation. This is why one more tendency why we go into distance education, why we need the different ways of presenting and delivering and interaction over the content, is because our students are bored with 120 minutes lecture today, and of course you know that the means of delivery and the ways must be changed, of course, today. And the challenges we see are on the slide. In every sector, I think, in every level of education, they are mostly the same. But for us, because I started with the laboratory of distance education in a research academy, and we were involved in teacher training and instructional design training. One of the challenge that for us is very critical is training professionals. As you know, this information and learning environment design requires groups of specialists and expert teams. And I know many European and North American universities, they have this special support teams and departments that help course authors build and create their courses. But what we have now in Russia, that most of the work is done by the authors and teaching professors. This is why everything is on their shoulders, and it's very difficult. In our university, we have such a department. It's called Knowledge Management, a scientific department that helps to create the courses, assess quality, but it's very difficult to now to manage this expert teams and to involve staff into cooperation. Because you know, there is very difficult always to find common tongue between teachers and IT specialists. Yes, people with with different perceptions of profession. So this is why we need these instructional designers that can build this gap between the content authors and the people who realize it with technological tools. And this is why, what about IT specialists in education? Yes, of course, tutors and coordinators are being trained at professional, informal, in-service training programs, but the professionals for distance learning, pedagogical designers, are so far not trained in Russia. You know very well the experience that you can see on the next slide, and we took much experience and much knowledge from Athabasca University, from Leicester University in UK, from Spanish University. That what was very precious for us in this experience, that they already trained the specialists at a distance and not only face-to-face. So in Russia, yes, this culture is going on, the tradition of training professional. We have professional development programs, very advanced and popular, teacher training programs. Professional net communities are very popular, but professional degrees programs like bachelor or master degrees, and moreover realized at a distance, are very, very unique. This is why we started in 2009 at MESI on the basis of applied informatics, bachelor's of applied informatics curriculum. We started this project trying to give this master program for already bachelors of computer science or applied informatics that were competent in this technical part of the process, and trying to build up their pedagogical and instructional design competencies. And the department was formed, and we would like to train this specialists for analysis, design, development, realization, and evaluation of technological resources and environments for different models of education and different levels, as I told you, to be a kind of support in these expert teams to satisfy this demand of the present market situation, and that could have this integrated competences that is rare today, and we all need for this profession. We developed several, basically the program itself is delivered in a blended mode, and the set of about 10 core and elective profile disciplines for applied informatics in education, major in education, because applied informatics is divided into, so students can choose applied informatics in economy, in management, in agriculture, in medicine, and in education as well. So give a set of special profile courses that are delivered totally at a distance. We use different tools, but one of the most used is Moodle as the basic hub for our resources and courses. And we were lucky, of course, at this program, because we need to train our students using all these tools and pedagogical, modern pedagogical technologies like cooperative learning projects, portfolio. So we were lucky that we could use learning by doing approach here. So we both create and deliver courses at a distance for our future instructional designers, and of course they use all these instruments while learning. As I told you, many resources are integrated, but the core is the virtual department, realizing the function of hub of resources. Every professor is responsible for his or her course, and they are free to choose any tools they would like to use in their course. And we use as well Adobe Connect so it can be both free and commercial tools. Adobe Connect we use for online lectures, delivery, and inviting professors as well. And one of the experience that we are proud of is trying to integrate this academic mobility opportunities for our students. One of the challenges I haven't spoken about today is that we really need professional instructional designers who can share their experience and teach at the department. This is why we outsource professors from other Central Russia universities, for example, Kazan Federal University, so a bit far from Moscow, but thanks to technologies we can do that. So it's a problem that not all professors that even train at a distance, they can train at these instructional design programs. We have experienced last semester, we had experience before with Professor Richards that is going to present hopefully today with us, and just integrating several of the lectures. And this semester we tried to integrate and base the whole course with the help of Professor Alan Tate from UK Open University, and we did it in several modes. We had so-called direct, so problem-based lectures from Professor Tate. Then we had a series of knowledge sharing sections, and we had the final paper presentation as well from our students. It was very interesting, really precious experience that we could share, and we could even maybe destroy some of the myths about Russian education that still exist. And but the barrier, of course, was language. Language, because our students are not students of foreign language departments. So, but we tried to help as we could. So it was a challenge, but it was the precious thing. And I would like to give the floor to my indirect co-speaker, Carol. If you could please help me to give a short interview with his view, what we tried to do last semester with our students. Carol, can you?
Okay, Maria, I will try that. It's first time. Yeah, could you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to do it. It's first time that I use that feature, so I hope it will work. It should be there for everybody to
click.
So you should know.
Hello, my name is Alan Tate. I'm Professor of Distance Education.
Okay, I'm just stopping it. Okay, yeah, it's working. Perfect. So I'm going to continue that. I'm just going to start it again.
I want to take a minute or two to share my experience contributing to the teaching on the master's program in informatics education on Moscow State University. messy. I've been able to contribute to the teaching in this program during this last year using Adobe Connect. Sitting here in Cambridge, England, while my students have been in Moscow and much further afield across Russia. It's been fascinating for me, and I hope for our students, to work across very different cultures and histories in our two societies, and yet at the same time to discover some commonalities which we share together. What fascinates me is that 20 years ago,
Carol, I think it's over.
So, Maria, you can continue. We just
Yes,
see the video.
Thank you, because it stopped for me. I thought it was abrupt. And one more project that forced us to international cooperation and gave opportunity for the students to use their competence and to understand that how they can be further involved and build their professional career was the MOOCs project, European MOOCs project started by, called Open Up. It is started by EDTU last April, where we could try, and this project is totally supported by our program student as an administrator. If you are interested, it's in English, and there is a course. There are courses of Russian as well there. You can have a look if you have time after registration. They will be free, available to you. So what I would like to specify in the end is our future development perspective. And one of the greatest problems for traditional university now that I am trying to introduce this virtual department with my 10 disciplines is to trying to shift to the flipped mode of traditional classroom, from a traditional classroom, because we still have this formally, we still have this classroom mode of delivery, and it's very difficult to persuade management and to change this curriculum design and to make them understand that there is different mode of combination of face-to-face. Of course, we have them online in this case, so online activities and offline activities, and we cannot follow the same mode of 2 times per week, 1 hour and a half lectures. This is very difficult. We still have face-to-face classroom and face-to-face mode of delivery, and quality assessment, of course, with external expertise and having each course assessed by the groups of other researchers, and we are going in this direction and thinking how to better introduce that. Our students are mostly working specialists. This is why they need customized learning pods, and though we developed some of the elective courses, some of them need individual support as well. We would like and started the project with Open University of Catalonia developing joint program of double degree diplomas. It's called a joint program for training such specialists. Further searching for academic mobility, both not only so, and we would liken with Catalonia to try not only academic mobility as for professor staff, but both for student exchange sessions in instructional design. So if you would like or have some ideas concerning that, I would be very happy to do something in this direction. And what I didn't speak today about, but I think it's a separate topic for instructional design today for our courses, is integrating these vendors courses from the sphere of e-learning, from e-learning market, software developers, course or electronic course book developers, so that are also rapidly growing in Russia. So this partnership also is very precious to our and interaction with vendors also is very precious to our students and program. We started as well to integrate it with face-to-face classrooms, but the distance mode of delivery is rather new. We are searching for this kind of opportunity. I would like to thank you for your attention and again for the opportunity, and I am ready to answer your questions if there are any. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Maria. That was really interesting. I would like now to know if there is any question. You can use the chat or you can use the microphone. Okay, so there's nobody had any question. Unfortunately, I was cut a lot of time because few people had problems there, so I couldn't really follow everything. I just see that you are open to some collaboration with. So can we understand that it's kind of an invitation if somebody had some project that they could contact you and see what could be done with you?
Yes, of course, yes. And if you need some personal contact, please feel free to email or yes. And if you're interested to sharing your experience with our students, you're more than welcome as well. Online, so don't need to come to Russia in person, of course, if you don't have time.
Thank you, Maria. That is very interesting. There's a question there from Claude Potvin. I understand you are depending on external training in instructional design, but is there any training program in instructional design in project?
If I understood correctly, what do you mean by external training in instructional design? Outside Russia, no, we are not dependent. Of course, we can do that, but as I told you, we don't have. But the problem is how good we do that. We are not dependent. We are searching for better ways, and I think our experience can also enrich the external so-called experience. But the problem for us is that there is no so-called instructional design. It came to us from, not long ago, after 90s, we start to use this term. We use the term of applied didactics, of people who were competent in methods of teaching in applied didactics. But in this context, this phenomenon of instructional designer is rather new. Carol, can you hear me?
Hear you? And there's okay, so Claude says thank you. So I think you did answer to his question.
Mm-hmm.
There's another question here from Bonnie. She says, for blended learning, we are approaching it with our instructors via our initial teacher training. Do instructors do basic instructional training?
No, this is a very good question, because we experimented so-called with this program. We started to do that because it was an opportunity, and we took it as a research laboratory to try to introduce our concept and what we did in distance learning, and try to accept this offer of Moscow University to introduce this program on the students of Bachelors of Applied Informatics, and the curriculum is joined. But now we are working, we already prepared, but there are some barriers as for accreditation things we are preparing, and this is, I think, very important for us, that this training is done on those students who already have the experience, as you said, basic instructional training. This is more important, because what we have now only is just from our department is this professional development program, short programs that give our master degree program in brief, but we work in this case with teachers, so real people who had this basic instructional training. So, and we are going, but we are going to develop that. So the program is ready. We are waiting for accreditation, and I hope next year we can start announcing and involve students. And moreover, we would like to offer next year internal double degree program that would give, because the university has a pedagogical department with Bachelor of Education and Master of Education and Psychology as well, and we would like to introduce this master degree programs, double degree, both for the students of education and the students of applied informatics, that they could benefit and choose more individually. If I could answer, but it's very important as well. And just to finish this question of Bonnie, there are many master degree programs in education in Russia who introduced this ICTs in applied didactics. For example, the teachers of mathematics that are trained during professional higher education course, program. After that, they take bachelors in so-called instructional design or ICTs in education. So there are such programs as well, but they are very, very narrow as for subject areas. So they just only train concrete specialists in this concrete subject area for operating an instructional design competencies model. I hope I answered. There is. Can you hear me, Carol?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. There is one more question here.
Yes, there was another one from Bonnie. I will say it. Maybe you already answered that, but she say we use blended learning to do basic instructional training, so they
just
get.
Answered. Yeah, just answered.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there's another one from Claude.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and any right? Are your knowledge department mainly composed of pedagogical specialists or ICT specialists?
This is also a very good question. Thank you very much. You know, these people, of course, they are from education, but sometimes they can be far from, you know, professional teaching. They could be, they represent very different professions, and they happen to be there for many reasons. But most of them are young specialists having not professional but advanced ICT competence, I would say, and they try to help us. So, in this department, what is very good about this department, that they provide tutoring, that they provide assistance for professors who are delivering and preparing content for online courses. So it's a blend, I would say. Some of the specialists are with pedagogical background, some are IT specialists, but professional IT department is also of help. So this knowledge management is a kind of instructional design department, of course, that cooperates with the educational departments and with IT departments. It's necessary. So for every course, some project team is made. Thank you for the questions. Yes, Claude said thanks. We have the same situation here.
So thank you. There is still time to have a few other questions if there's somebody who want to or made a comment or ask a question or maybe share a similar experience if you want. Okay, I see nobody raise hands or anything. Unfortunately, I just talked to Dr. Richard, and he won't be able to get here into the video, into VIA. So there's technical problems that he just couldn't get in. Well, he don't have any internet, so that's one point. But he couldn't get in with telephone neither. So unfortunately, we won't have the opportunity to listen to what he had prepared. Maybe that will be for another time. We have to figure that a little bit further, see what is possible. We apologize for that, but I think there's a lot of people seems to have the same problem in Vancouver. I don't know, or at least in his area. So if there's no other question, that will be it for today. I would like to, and again, I'm going to do it in English. Yeah, big storm last night. That's exactly what he's saying, and probably a main I don't know, tools have been crushed or something like that. So anyway, I'm going to bring us to the end of the workshop, and I'm going to do it in English, and I'm not prepared for that, so I kind of improvise. So I'm just cross my finger. Okay, and so that will be it for today. And I would like to thank very much Dr. Panatier. That was very interesting to have that presentation, to see what's happening over there. And thank you for the invitation as well. I think I could talk for everybody about that. Don't forget that you can listen again to the conference with VIA, and that will be available like in about 1 hour for everybody. You just have to go back with the same link that you had gotten, and you will be able to have the recording. So at this point, I would like to inform you that the next workshop will be on January 21st, 2015. We will then there will be then Dr. Sadi Saferoglu from Turkey and Madame Irma Azenet Patino Zuniga from Mexico. That will be the third workshop of the international series. And I'm sorry, I'm interrupted because, yeah. Yes, Panetti, I think it's French. Maybe you can comment on that. Just to finish about the workshop in January, area information will be on the website in a few weeks. So I thank you very much, everybody. And again, if you still have questions, don't hesitate. We still have time. It's on, and there's no problem. We can continue. Or thank you very much to be there, and thank you, Dr. Panati.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.